correct. Press 2 if you want to use another. You'll be called when a customer service representative becomes available. Thank you.
I'm live on all platforms. Yeah, I'll show my whole kitchen. Trying to get everything set up. How y'all doing on today? Hump day. Happy hump day. Happy hump day.
Let's go. Big time.
Today we decided to speak upon what are we talking about today, baby?
This is brought to you by Seagraves Says, Boss Walking, Big Boss Walking. We're going to talk about there's so much to talk about. Let's talk about dealing with the stress that comes with the holidays coming up. How do you deal with them if your family isn't like it used to be in the old days? Let's talk about how we deal with stress, and if you may have been the therapy or if you may not have been the therapy. What about you? What do you want to talk about?
I just want to kind of go along with whatever topics you bring up today, because I feel like I'm so talkative, but I'm always talking. It's always about with me what I'm talking about. I don't be talking about that. But yeah, I'm just gonna go along with the topic. Whatever we bring up, me. I'm quick with it. I'm quick on my toes. You bring something up, I can pretty much roll with you. So, that's what we'll do.
Okay. Well, you know that the holidays are coming up, and all the families are getting together and trying to be in a giving of thanks, I guess. Eating and reminiscing and being thankful to be around one another. And what if you
reminisce on the love we had?
What if you don't want to be around family on Thanksgiving?
Okay.
Because that brings about a bad taste or a bad vibe if you come to a mutual destination or setting to where you're going to eat and be drinking and supposedly be married together.
Okay. Well, for me personally, since you and I have been together, we kind of decided, like in the preliminaries of our relationship, we sat down and talked about what the holidays meant to us, the different calendar holidays, what they meant to us, and then the true meaning behind these calendar holidays. And you and I we've stopped celebrating the calendar holidays other than our birthdays.
Yeah.
So when you say, what does it mean to us? Me personally, I just go back to the real meaning of it when they pillaged and took things away from people. And, it wasn't a time of giving or thanks, but, I understand how we, some of us want to go along with the traditions that family has set upon us, and that's okay. That's just fine. But me personally, it doesn't do anything for me. Like it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Your mind and body and soul craves what it craves. So it doesn't take a certain day out of the year to be able to celebrate those things that your mind, body, and soul crave. And for me personally, my mind, body, and soul has always craved being in a family setting. So it didn't take having to have Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter or, these different holidays to want to be around my family and celebrate my family. I'm just one who, if I got some money, I'm going to just be around my family. We going to eat good. We going to laugh. We going to talk and reminisce about the good times, So
what if you don't have money and you still want to be around family?
Then somebody in the family is going to put it together at somebody's house to where we can all come together and pitch in and be able to do our thing. Oh, shoot.
I had a call coming in and it wasn't for Seagraves Says. So I'm going to get back to that momentarily. Until then, let's talk about getting together with family and there is a discrepancy within the family and you can't really enjoy family because there's always a problem.
So for me, I don't know no other way than to just keep it real. So when
Well,
I
keep
was
it
back
real
home,
then.
we would always go to my brother's house, my brother Randy. We would always go to his house for Thanksgiving, right? His house is always the go-to house for Thanksgiving, and I'm cool with it. Whatever, y'all ain't coming to my house. I don't like different people at my house. I don't like different spirits coming in and out of my home. Boom. So Randy's house was the go-to. I was cool with that. It just over time, I just realized that it's like I'm gonna always love my siblings no matter what. But it's just like I don't know. It's just like a competitive feeling that I felt when I would come around these last couple years that I did go. Like I kind of pull myself away because I'm just kind of like, if we're supposed to be coming together to enjoy each other and to have a celebration of life and love, then we shouldn't bring up things that are going to put us in the spirit of, oh, you got this, oh, I got that, oh, who has this, oh, who can afford that. And it was never my brother bringing these things up. It was more so his wife. And I remember the very last time that we were over there, me and her mom were actually having a conversation, and her mom was asking me something about a forever home. And I was just telling her, well, you know, my forever home ain't going to be in Collin County. And his wife instantly says, why? Y'all can't afford it? So I had to stop her, like, that's funny that you feel like we can't afford it. I said, well, take your house that you live in right now. They live in East Plano. So take your house that you live in and then take your neighbor's house that they live in. We own those properties, not we rent, not we lease. We own those properties in Collin County. So if I wanted to have a house in Collin County, I can go build a monster of a house in Collin County and live there debt free. But that's not my end all be all. So it was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, you got a good one. Why are we sitting around talking about who has the most of this and who has the most of that? I just love being around family. Everything doesn't have to be about a competition of who got what. Just let's eat. Let's enjoy the food. Let's enjoy the sweets. Let's enjoy the sweet tea. You know what I'm saying? Let's just enjoy each other as a family, as opposed to wanting to pick each other apart. And I got more than this than you do. That's my personal take on it in my last time going. But
Okay. Well, for me, going around family, it should be a happy moment. It should be a stressless moment. But when you get around family and everybody is picking and choosing sides, and there's no order or no structure in family, it's just hard to be around family. You know, um, I don't like going places to where I'm not celebrated. I don't like going places to where I'm always having to defend myself about something that somebody has made up in their head, because I can never be the person who you made me up to be in your head.
right.
So when family come together, if people are picking and choosing sides, I just can't be there.
It makes it an uncomfortable situation. And I
On,
feel you on that.
only sides I want to pick is if I want mashed potatoes or macaroni and cheese.
Or yams, or
You know what I'm saying?
well, green bean casserole, whatever. I feel that. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just like in the Black family these days, it's not very much love and structure and order. You know what I'm saying? Like when grandma was alive, when my grandmother was alive, my great grandmother was alive, everybody would come together at certain people's houses and we would really enjoy each other and have fun. And it's like nowadays, it's not so much of that. It's more, like I said, wanting to see who has the most of this or wanting to see who has the most of that. And that's not what life is all about. I'm not in competition with nobody. I'm
Good morning,
in
Sheila.
it just to win it for myself and for my
Sheila.
family. And my goals don't look like your goals. So you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know.
I just know, just personally being real and transparent. I'm the oldest of my mother's kids. I'm the oldest son of my mother's kids, and then it's only me left. And then I'm the oldest grandson, which makes me be like the sixth child from my grandparents, you know? And the older we get, the more we understand the dynamics of family, because you live through this family, you're living with this family, eating and enjoying one another, genuine love, one win, we all win. That is so correct. But times has come about to where if you don't stand up under the umbrella of somebody doing, what should I say? If you're contrary to what the family believes, then it's a problem. It's a major problem.
So can you give me an example of what you're talking about?
Let's just say, coming from a family where everybody always worked.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody always worked, and I'm not taking anything from anybody that works, the sense of security, the sense of being structural to come in and do a job every day and get paid for it and go home. Well, that's never been me. I was taught to work, go to school, work, get a good job, you'll have a good life. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I want to say that's a misleading concept of life. I didn't believe in that, not at all. I believe that if you go out and make something of your life, you will be successful. Not necessarily that you will have a happy ending, but if you live happy, the ending gonna come regardless. So I was always hustling. I started hustling at a very young age. I was hustling at 6, 7 years old, trading clothes, going up to, if anybody know McKinney, we used to have a candy store or a wholesale store up at the top of Virginia Street. And you could go in there, you could buy candy, you can buy anything. So what I did was take my allowance or my lunch money, go up there and buy the candy, garbage pail kids, things of that nature, and go back to school and sell it to the kids that wasn't able to have candy or wasn't able to get to stores because their parents prohibited that. So moving forward, when drugs hit McKinney, Texas, I start selling drugs. Not that that was unsavory to my grandparents. Yeah, it was very. I got kicked out of the house for selling drugs, but I apologized, put it to the side, and just wouldn't do it there anymore. So all my life I hustled. It was contrary to everything that everybody believed in. So I hustled, worked hard at the same time, kept a job. I kept a job and I hustled. Moving fast forward, that I still don't work for a company. I work for myself, and everybody is not accepting to you being successful or semi-successful in owning your own business and not having to depend on the family. A lot of our families are used to being dependent upon when they get in a bind, when they get in a pickle, if you will. When you get in a pickle, I was taught that a man stand up, regardless of what. And even when I need help, I refuse to reach out for help. My wife be like, babe, you got to stop that. No, you don't have to stop that, because when you get help from people, they tend to dangle it over your head. Mm-hmm. And you can't gonna dangle nothing over my head. I can't do it. I won't do it. So I stand up and I be a man and I go out and I work, I hustle, I grind, I grit, I bite the salt, and I keep going. So to rewind it back, to come to the holidays and everybody else in the house, they may owe the monarch or the hierarchy in the family, and you don't. So they always tend to say, oh, you think you're better. Oh, you think you this because you that. No, you think I'm that because of this. I don't ask nobody for no help because I've always been hurt behind asking help. So I don't ask for help. I'd rather go out there and hold a sign if I had to. I'd rather go out there and dig shit with a shovel before I go ask for help. Mm. My grandfather will tell you
That's
that.
Tough.
It is. Tough. It's real tough. Because when you come from hurt, sometimes you don't know how to deal with rage. Mm. And rage is like a fire. It can either burn the house down or it can heat up the house. My rage is one time burnt down the whole house until I learned how to deal with rage. And now rage is heating up my home. Good morning. What's up, Tiny? What's up, Mix? And so I just look at it right now in life is that if I'm not appreciated and if I'm not welcome, I don't want to come, even though I am invited.
And you definitely feel the feeling of not being welcome. You might get invited, but just because you're invited somewhere, that doesn't always mean that you're welcome, right? And so with that being said, it's just kind of like, you love your family, you want to be around your family, you want to spend the holidays with your family, but at the same time, it's like your family shouldn't be the place where you feel like the outsider. Your family shouldn't be the place where you feel like the outcast. Your family shouldn't be the place where when you walk away, you feel like everybody's talking about you negative behind your back. That's not family. That's not love, y'all. Family is more so they're going to have your back no matter what you go through. Your highs, your lows, your ups, your downs. Your family is supposed to be there to support you. Markeisha, I see that you are on the live. I just want to tell you very personally, thank you so much, because anytime that I've ever needed you, spoken or unspoken, you going to come through like a champ, and you don't complain. You don't talk about nobody behind their back. You handle shit like a G. And sometimes I wish I had your strength in that area. When I was going through a situation with my child in the hospital, I was still in Georgia, but by the time I made it to Texas, You and Jemiah's face was the first faces that I seen coming out of my child's hospital room. And I truly appreciate you for that, because I couldn't be there, but you stood there for me as if I was there, and I felt the love. I felt the compassion. I felt the trueness in what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't to come speak, it wasn't to come look at my baby and then go talk about the situation behind my back. No, you truly have a genuine love for me, which created a genuine love for my child. And I appreciate you for every time that you've ever stood there and been there for me. It's been numerous of times. I don't have to go down through it on this live, but you know what you've done for me. And I just want to tell you, thank you. If I ain't never told you to your face, which I know for a fact I did once we hugged and embraced at the hospital room, thank you. I almost lost my child, but you know that because you were there. And it was just a hard time, because I felt like at that point in time, my family chose and my family didn't choose me. And that was a hurting, that's something that hurts so bad, because all of my family has always seen me bust my ass and do everything I have to do and sacrifice for my child, for my children, for my family. Everybody knows that I'm a grinder, I'm a gritter. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get out there and do whatever I got to do for my family. And it's like at that time, I felt like my family wasn't choosing me,
yes, sir.
Which is okay, and I had
because
to come
they're not going to choose you every time,
which is and that's understandable. That's okay. But all I'm saying is that I appreciate those who haven't made me feel like they chose and didn't choose me. I appreciate the family who stood and had my back, and it wasn't just for purposes of coming so that they can have something to talk about around their other family or friend groups. You know what I'm saying?
Ruth says she's dealing with family drama right now on her husband's side, and you're going to deal with drama from both sides, because they're so used to that person being him when he's not with you.
Right.
Or are they so used to her being her when she's not with him? And we always most of us come from families that stand behind God or stand behind the Bible. And those be some of the biggest hypocrites out there, because if the Bible teaches us to be with husband, be with wife, and wife be with husband, and no longer cleave to family, why the family always trying to tear apart?
Why are they always trying to separate you away from your husband or away from your wife? To me, that doesn't make sense.
So with that being said, when I got with Takara, man, straight up, my mama told me Takara gave her vibes of my ex-wife. And taking all and granted you, me and my mom don't have the best of relationships, because my mom did not raise me. And, just to clear the air where people say, oh, I didn't even know that was your mother. Oh, I didn't even know that was your brother. Yes, these are things that really go on in families, and they wonder why we have separation, because nobody in the family will make people be accountable. I'm so sick and tired of being in a family that no one is accountable, but always pointing the finger at the person that is trying.
And it's like the hell starter is the person that always gets the family to stand behind them and validate they bullshit, or always say, oh,
yes,
well, it's
sir,
okay.
Mr.
Just give
Tiny.
that person their way. Oh, well, it's okay. Don't worry about them. That's been their problem their whole life. And that's why they keep up so much shit within the family, because nobody ever wants to call them on their BS. Well, me and my baby, we're far away from that shit. And now that we are what we are, we stand on what we stand on. It's no longer going to allow you to talk shit about people behind their back. And then when they come, it's like, oh, I love you. Oh, no, I missed you. That's not what you was just saying 5 minutes ago before you thought I was coming. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you said about me when I wasn't around, everything that you were saying about me when I wasn't here, stand on that shit. Don't be fake. Don't love me in my face. And in the minute my back is turned, all of a sudden you got so many negative things to say about me. You know what I'm saying? It's like when me and him got together, even with us being out here now, when I talked to my oldest child told me this last conversation, well, did nobody tell y'all to move to Georgia?
Man.
And I was just like, whoa, what do you mean didn't nobody tell me to move to Georgia? We all have choices in life, right? So if leaving Texas and moving out of Texas is what makes me happy at the time, and I've done my due diligence in raising you, because you're a young adult now, you're supposed to be standing up on your own 2 feet and showing me how independent you are. I didn't have to ask for permission to move to Georgia, because first of all, if I needed your permission, I would have came to you for some money. I would have came to you to lean on you for your credit score. I would have came to lean on you for something. I would have had to come lean on you for something. And I did not have to do that. When we moved out here, didn't nobody believe that we was coming. Although we told our family, we told our so-called friends, we told our children, we told everybody months in advance, at least 2 months in advance. Hey, we getting ready to move to Georgia, and everybody just like, they thought it was a joke.
Good morning,
and then
once
we finally got out here and moved out here, then all of a sudden it turned into, well, nobody told y'all to move to Georgia. Man. We grown ass people, and we don't need y'all to stand on or have, I found out who was talking mess about me and mine at my own wedding and was just smiling in my Danielle. That happens. So hold on, let me speak on that. So she's saying that she found out at her own wedding that certain people was talking mess about her and smiling in her face. That is the main reason that I didn't want a wedding, y'all. My husband wanted a wedding.
Come on
I did
down.
not
We
want a
always
wedding.
got
I was
room, you
so
know what I'm
okay
saying?
with
Come
just
down and
going to the
visit.
courthouse and getting married. That was my big thing,
Come
because
visit,
I'm not finna
come
pay
the
a whole bunch of
weekend,
money for
and
people
then
to come
come on
speculate
back.
about how much my dress
Go back
costs,
home.
how much his suit costs, how much the food at the wedding costs, where everybody sat at, how much the decorations cost, how much the venue costs. I wasn't finna spend all that money for all these people, these fake people, to come speculate. And they really didn't have no love for me. So what me and my husband did, and we're happily married to this day, may I add, happily married. We went right up there to the courthouse, and right in front of Willow, my mama, my stepdad, his grandmother, his grandfather, and his best friend at the time. We got married in front of those people, and that was it, y'all. That was it. We only had them couple of people in the room with us when we got married, and we're happily married to this day, y'all. There's literally.
Ruth said they're always in Georgia racing. LOL. Got to make sure we see y'all next time. Yes, definitely reach out.
See, and my husband was the same way, Danielle. My husband wanted the wedding because this was his second time being married, and I told him, I'm not that girl. You don't have to do that with me. Instead of us having a wedding, let's get us a house and put us a house up from the ground up, and then we could just go about it in that manner. And
okay, Danielle. With that being said, being that it was her first time getting married, I did want her to have a wedding, you know, because I've had the experience of being married and having a small, intimate wedding. But when she told me she didn't want a wedding, I respected that. I didn't want have no grand wedding because I don't have a grand load of friends. I don't have a grand load of family.
Supportive family. We got a grand load of family, just not supportive family.
Well, in my thing, grand means to be happy, jolly, hunky dory. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when Takara speaks, she's speaking from her generation and her age group and what she knows.
Y'all, we 9 years apart. So if we sound a little, helter skelter, it's because we come from different generations, and we've accepted that in this relationship.
We've learned to adapt to one another.
Because this nigga old as hell, but I love his old ass. I will whoop your ass behind this old nigga.
But speaking of marriage, speaking of family, and it's time, and Ruth, speaking of having problems with your in-laws, right now is the time to where there is so much stress. There's so much strain on families, your intermediate family and your extended family, because of how work is right now. Because the inflation in housing, in food, in
everything
fuel,
around you,
is everything
going up,
around
but
you
the
is
price
going
that they're
up.
wanting to pay doesn't change. It's not, they're not wanting to give you no more than 50 cents raise at a job.
Minimum wage ain't changed in 20 years.
Right.
You know,
so it's hard on everybody, but
so we have to go out here and we have to grit, grind, and figure out ways to make money and then supplement income. Because even in the trucking industry, and Tiny, you can speak on this right now, the trucking industry is crazy. I'm considering selling my truck, my trailer, and everything, my MC and everything, because it's so crazy, and just take that money, pivot, and go another route.
Not give up on life. Just go in a different direction and go follow a different dream, because we have several different dreams that we're dreaming and, wanting to accomplish and bring to life. So it's not like we're just going to give up on life. No, we're just going to take that and put that into a whole nother business and rock and roll with it, if that's our choice.
He ain't old. Ricky Tanguma said he ain't old. He just got a big heart. That's true.
He's big-hearted, but shit, you don't live with him. You don't wake up next to him. You don't go to bed next to this nigga. Yes, when I say old, I'm not meaning by age. I'm meaning he has an old soul. He was raised by his grandparents. So this man literally has an old soul, y'all. So the way that he talks and he does things, and he's old at heart. Let me just put it like that. Like, I love him, y'all. I love him to death.
So what are some ways?
It amazes me how life is now when people first.
So what are some of the ways that you guys are going to deal with or coexist through the holidays, being that Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas coming up? How are you guys are going to coexist
I feel that
with your family?
Because that's literally what I had to
chime
do
in, let us know as we're talking. That way we can be able to just interact with one another.
So over here, she's basically saying that, they had to learn, because it was her husband's first time being married. It was her first time being married. She feels like she's the black sheep of the family. So she had to kind of create some separation so that she can have mental peace and, space for her own person. And that's so true, because
we definitely understand that.
When black people say that they're the black sheep of the family, we're not saying that in a negative way. What we're saying is that we feel like we're the one person that's ostracized out of the family, or we're the one person whose flaws get pointed out a little bit more than everybody else's. So now we're the talking point of everybody of the family when they come around. It doesn't mean that we feel like we're somebody bad in the family. It just means that we feel like we're the GOAT. I'm the GOAT because I've always felt like the black sheep of my mama's children. She has 4, and I feel feel like I'm the black sheep, meaning that I'm the one that stands out the most. And whatever reason, that's just, it's always been that. And I don't embrace it in a negative way. These days, I've learned to embrace it in a positive way because I'm the GOAT. I'm the greatest of her kids, and I'm cool with that. I'm all right with that, you know. And I was having a conversation, I think it was like last year or the year before last, with my oldest brother, and I was telling him, I was like, Derek, I feel like I'm mama's most successful child. And he was like, what you mean by that too? I was just like, you know, just take into account, I may not be the one making the most money per se, but when it comes to the successes and the riches of life, I feel like I'm the one that's the most accomplished. Yes. He was like, kind of break it down for me. And I was like, well, you know, you and Randy, y'all still live right there in close proximity to where we were born and raised at. Y'all are still right there in Collin County, and y'all refuse to leave Collin County. Like, y'all feel like if y'all leave Collin County, y'all are leaving y'all's livelihood behind. I don't feel like that. I needed to leave Collin County in order to grow and be the best me. He was kind of like, man, that's dope. You know, I feel that. And so then we went into kind of like the money situation. I was just like, and then take into account, you know, y'all clock in every day. Y'all clock into somebody else's job every day. And y'all have somebody who provides the structure for their business. And then y'all just come in and y'all work those businesses. But with me and my husband, we have to go create our own structure and our own business. And we create how much money that we make. And so after I broke it down to him, he no longer seen it in a negative way. He was kind of like, man, that's pretty dope that you think like that. And I'm pretty sure, just knowing my brother, he went and talked to my other brother about it. And they had this big, long, great conversation. And don't get me, I'm not knocking nobody. I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but just my view of success looks completely different than my siblings, even though we were raised in the same household.
And that's going to be like that.
You know, for Randy, success looks like taking care of his family, getting up, going to work every day, making sure that just the people under his roof are straight and taken care
of.
And
that's the way it should. That's the way it should. That's the way it should be.
For Derek, I think his view of success has changed over the last 5 to 6 years. I've seen, because I've seen a change in his values and the way that he conducts himself. So we're just all different. Like I said,
let's move over here to
being raised in the same household.
Trucking is a broken market. People jumping in the game and not knowing is messed up in the game. And it definitely is a broker's market, and we have to learn and understand that.
Yes, I'm on my phone too. We have
some things ain't right. And then Ruth says
we have our laptop, we have our Mac top, we have our Mac up. She's asking her mom on the phone. And then I have my phone over here set up on a live too. So yeah, I'm kind of like, so when I'm looking over here, it's because I'm reading the comments on mine, and I just want to make sure that we address everybody.
We're both on live. Mm-hmm. And
we're also on YouTube. Make sure that all of y'all are on here. Please go subscribe to Seagraves Says on our YouTube page. We're trying to grow that platform so that we don't have to get on these phones and go live no more. We can just get directly on the MacBook and do our thing and talk to y'all from one screen or whatever. But yeah.
That Seagraves Says on YouTube. Okay, and Ruth is saying that she's not going to his family for the holidays. She's going to stay at home because it's too much, and I already had a lot going on. I totally agree, Ruth. I'm not going
either. No, thank you. We will be in Georgia.
Tiny said that he was just working to pay bills, put out almost 30. Tiny, I did the same thing, or shall I say, we did the same thing. I made 6 figures and I paid out 6 figures.
Straight up.
And then just to keep it 100, and then when tax time come, we did not owe the IRS. Right. But to work that hard and make that type of money, and then to spend it all back out.
Expenses. You're paying it back in expenses pretty much.
And then to only get maybe less than $2,000 in tax return. I guess I can say I'm blessed because I know guys that had to pay out for that. I'm going to jump right back over to what she was saying about family
and having to get away for your own mental space and your own mental peace.
I was deeded land in McKinney, Texas. Let's just get this correct, okay? So those that are inquiring and maybe you don't know, or maybe I'm talking too much, it really doesn't matter because
it's public information.
This is my life.
Public information.
My grandmother's family had a lot of land and a lot of stuff back home. So they gifted me the land that was in my family since 1895. And before they gave any land to one of their biological children, I got land first. So you can just only imagine
the rift that
the discrepancy that it caused in the family. You understand what I'm saying? But what was told to me by my grandmother and grandfather was that the reason that I received this land because I showed to be responsible throughout my life, although I did have a lot of hang-ups and mess-ups and screw-ups, I always stayed functional. I always had my own money And I did not always go to my grandmother and grandfather for money or with my hand out, if you will.
With his hand out, always going to them with his hand out,
So when I got the property or was deeded the property, family members were highly upset at why did I get something and they didn't. Well, you can't be mad at me for receiving something, but they were
and still are. Let's keep it real, and still are. It's still a topic of every Sunday. It's still a topic at Granny's house of why Keith still got the land. And when y'all sell the land, don't give Keith nothing. Don't give Keith nothing.
So if we go and sell, let's just say we sell the land and we split it up amongst the living relative. People that are not used to making money or having money, that money is gone. I am still to this day, I'm not behind on my taxes. I pay my taxes on time, and I've yet to build because I move when the Most High say move. He leads me. Always have, even when I was drunk, even when I was high, the Most High leads you. And he's leading me just to hold on and watch what's going on. I am tired of going around family and being the scapegoat. I am tired of going around family being the black sheep.
I want you to read what she says, but we're going to touch that.
I am not the black sheep. I was groomed to be the goat. And my grandmother is important to a lot of people in the family, but not more important than she is to me because she chose to take care of me when she didn't have to. You understand me? She gave me the way. Let me read this right quick before we get on past it. Let's see. Danielle Leonard. Yeah, I'm teaching my kids differently than I was raised and treated because my life was totally different as well, from being casted out, homeless, foster care, where I applied that as strength and motivation to have better and do better for me and mine. And now my family has started to gravitate to me, but it's hard for me to have empathy, man, because it's hard for me.
I wanted you to read that because, baby,
for them sometimes I have forgave them, but I haven't forgotten as well. But practicing more meditation and prayers, I know we are supposed to have compass, but it's hard when favor was shown and between my sister and I. Man, I grew up. Danielle, what you saying? That's some real stuff, sweetheart. I'm sorry if that may offend you, sweetheart, but I'm just telling you the truth. Because coming up, it was shown favoritism. My mother showed big time favoritism in her kids.
To the point that you didn't even know that this was her child. A lot of y'all that grew up with her didn't even know that this was her child because she didn't really go on in her life, and to this day, acknowledging the fact that he is her child.
I say, Danielle, stay strong because the Most High have picked you to be this person to shine light on the darkness that went on in your family. Mm-hmm. He's chosen you to be the generational curse breaker in your family. And your children don't have to be up under that hypocrisy.
You've broken that generational cycle for them, and you're starting a new tradition for them as far as the head of your family goes. It's okay to accept and go on with the traditions that some of the traditions that your family has created. But when you come from a family that has always shown favoritism, or a family that has always prided themselves on wanting to stand behind one family member more than the other, it's kind of like once you see something ain't right within the family and you're the person to speak on it, or you're the person to step in and break that generational cycle, now it makes you seem like you're the black sheep because you're no longer sweeping shit up under the rug like your family has always done. True. Right? But it's okay for you to be that one person that's going to come along and say, hey, this ain't right. This ain't never been right. It's never going to be right. So we don't have to settle for this. And when it comes to how I'm going to do things and structure my family, I'm not going to structure it in the manner that y'all did because y'all wanted to just take things as they were instead of the right thing to do. You went with the popular thing to do. And me personally, I don't go with the popular choice. I go with what's right. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, what we need to do is get back to where families can sit down at the table and have a family meeting. To me, if families would have a family meeting and say a lot of the things to their family members' faces instead of behind people's backs, our family dynamic would be a lot different. We would have a lot more respect for each other if we were just to bring our issues to the forefront instead of picking out moments and times when that person that y'all ain't talking about ain't around so they can't defend themselves, but y'all want to go out on this long rant and tyrant about that person and not give that person to stand up to your face and be able to defend themselves against the allegations or whatever y'all have to say about them. That's not okay. And so that makes that person that y'all are talking about like a dog seem like the bad person. But in my opinion, whoever it is constantly bringing up that person and that person ain't around, to me, you the dog.
No, they're not the dog. They're the coward.
You're a coward. You're definitely a coward. You know what I'm saying? That's you're not even courage the cowardly dog. You're just a cowardly dog because you're not even woman or man enough to face your issues with this person. But what you want to do is pile up your feelings on everybody else in the family in hopes that your feelings now turns into their feelings about this said person. And it's just, to me, that's childish. It's childish.
It's the insecurity.
The old folks used to say, do something, to do something and say nothing. Back in the day, everything was kept quiet. Shit, I found out this year I got another baby brother. Imagine that. Ooh, that's pretty deep. Hey, with that being said, Walter Barkins is my daddy, and I had to find out on his deathbed or at his funeral that I had a sister. You know what I'm saying? I had another sister. My mama told me, but it's nothing like a person who seeded that child letting you know that that's your brother or your sibling. Black families, that's just something that goes on.
He might have just found out on his deathbed.
My daddy, no, because he went to the. Let me tell you how it happened, baby. No, he didn't just find out on his deathbed, but he wanted my sister to know on his deathbed so that before he died, she was able to come see him. He knew all along that was his child. He knew all along that he cheated on this woman, cheated on my mama with that woman, had that baby, and that baby grew up looking just like us Barkins, damn me. She looked just like us Barkins. Now that Negro didn't just find out. He just wanted that shit exposed at that point, because I guess it was something he was getting off his chest and didn't want to die with that secret.
Okay. So, but sometimes,
a lot of black families got too many secrets, y'all. We got too many secrets.
Some of these men don't even be knowing. These women just, they keep the kid from these men.
But we were in a place to where we grew up and everybody was tight-knit, Keith. So we grew up on Parker Road. Everybody on Parker Road knew each other, just like y'all grew up on Throckmorton. Everybody on Throckmorton knew each other, right?
I can't speak on what you know and what you do. I'm not going to speak on that.
Right.
I'm not. Right. But because we grew up together, or because we coming from the same demographics or geographic area, does not mean that we know completely what is going on. Because it be dudes back in the day that have kids on one street in the front, and 2 blocks, 3 blocks over, they got another whole family. So
but they know that though, right? They know about both families, right?
May and may not. Some women understood that long as they got that paycheck, they were good. Long as they got that paycheck and was able to take care of that house, and it didn't come to her front door, they were good.
A lot of things done in the dark come to the light. I say all of that shit done in the dark.
And it's coming now.
Eventually it does come to the light, and it's coming a lot faster than it did back in the day.
It does.
Back in the day, you used to have to wait for karma to slap a motherfucker. These days, motherfuckers fuck up and want to commit fraud, and
my great grandmother
slapping them right away.
If it don't come out in the wash, it'll definitely come out in the rinse.
Baby, I can deal with the leak.
Hey, but
we gotta fix
that hole with your looking ass. But yeah, man, I love having conversations like this way after death. And that's the whole thing, is that sometimes it takes death for it to open up, because us as black folks, we were taught strength. We were taught that secrets were hurt.
What goes on in this house stays in this house. That's what a lot of us was raised up under.
It builds resentment.
Mm-hmm.
It builds hate. And when it comes out, because we look at certain parents or certain grandparents as being this quote unquote so perfect person, that's what makes it hurt. Because we wanted to know and we didn't know. We had a little inkling about it, but we never presented
with the facts. You just went off speculation. You never got to be presented with the facts. So if you were presented with the facts, you got to deal with it a little bit differently.
And I understand, because we all grew up together, Tiny. We went to school together. We played together. We sometimes, a lot of us even went to church together, picnic together, whatever. And, there was a certain respect about everybody in the neighborhood, but you would always see people. Or you would hear it as a kid. That's why y'all speaking nothing but the truth. I just love y'all. Oh, we love you too, baby girl.
Oh, you said you're gonna take off and come down here for a week, Kanisha. Just let us know when you coming.
I'm glad.
Let us know when you coming.
Feel for my peace. Fires, hollers is love. Man, hey, if y'all got love, I'll take my hat off to your love. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it off, because there's some families out there, man, that when grandmama and them passed, that when granddaddy passed, Man, the family is going to be in turmoil. I promise you, because some of our families are in turmoil, and the monarchies are still alive because people are getting away with not being accountable. Accountability is big. And we know who those people are in our family that has never been made
held accountable. You can tell because even to this day, they the ones that keep up all the shit behind everybody's back. So as your families get together this Thanksgiving and y'all want to make the Seagraves, this set of Seagraves, the topic of conversation, always remember that phones now have FaceTime. Phones now have Duo. You can get on Facebook and you can chime us in. Anybody that makes us the topic of conversation this Thanksgiving, I want somebody in the family that's there to pick up that phone and put us on FaceTime. So even though we're not there in the flesh, we're still able to be a part of the conversation. Don't talk about me behind my back. Say that shit to where I can respond and I can have some comeback and I can let you know my feelings because your feelings ain't the only one that's valid.
I don't even want it. See,
I do.
See, my wife is do. Y'all heard her saying she want it. That's cool. She can have it. I don't want it. If you can't stand to my face and say it to me, I don't want it because it don't mean nothing. Don't FaceTime me and tell me that jive. Tell me to my face. Call me and say, hey, let's have a conversation. Then you can tell me. But just because I'm telling you on this live, hey, call me and this, that, and another. Now let that guilt eat your ass up. You hear me? Bah, bah, bah. Let it eat your ass up. Look. Because I don't want it. Because it's fake. It's frivolous. And I don't need it. You heard me? I like to stay clear away from that junk.
Baby, do you realize we both got on blue? Did we do that on purpose?
You trying to be like daddy.
I didn't even see what you had on when you left out the room. How am I trying to be like you? No, I was in the shower. Keep it real. I was in the shower. And you came in there. This man came in there talking shit to me while I was in the shower.
So with that being said, Danielle, Tiny, Ruth, when it's time, okay, because Thanksgiving is what, next Thursday? I guess.
I don't know. Celebrate.
I'm just saying you don't know, but I'm just saying we understand because school is out.
That I was meant to be born, but not meant to be raised. My family intentionally. I was raised, but other that taught, that showed me things that I needed to know. God knew I was going to. Whoa, see, that is so true because I have
read it out loud for the audience.
She just basically be saying that she had to learn. Y'all can see it. I don't have to read it. Y'all can read yourselves. But anyway, let me go into it for you.
Your audience over there?
You don't have nobody on there, baby. Look, you don't have anybody on there. But that's okay.
Okay, let me read it for y'all. For my audience that will come back and view later. Danielle Leonard said, I had to learn that I was meant to be born, but not meant to be raised. My family intentionally. I was raised, but other than taught and showed me things that I needed, and God knew I was going to need to mold me what was ahead for me.
So let me tell you what I took out of that. It was basically somebody that was not blood related to you came into your family, came into your realm and treated you more compassionately than the people that you were born to in your family. I have that same situation. I have a sister. She's not my blood sister, but my daddy and her mama went together for years. And I respect her a lot more than I respect some of my blood sisters because as a child, she came and took up with me. Anytime that I would go through things or like we went to the homeless shelter 3 times as a kid. And I can honestly say that it's like every time we went to the homeless shelter, I don't know how LaVon knew that we were homeless, but LaVon would do her best to come get me and take me away, show me love. And she had 3 children of her own. So at any point in time, she could have just been like, hey, I'm just going to come get you on the weekends and I'll come spend time with you. I'll love you. I'll take you shopping, keep your hair done, blah, blah, blah. She didn't do that. She came and took me into her household and raised me as her own child. And so for that, I will forever have love for her. But what you're basically saying is that God already knew what you needed. So he already placed these certain people within your realm to understand who you were and that you were going to need them. And these people they selflessly gave to you love, compassion, whatever it was that they gave to you. And they took time with you when people of your family didn't even think highly enough of you to do that. And so for that same reason, I have the same thing. I have the same type of relationship with a person that's not my blood, but I respect her more than I respect some of my blood family members because of the time she always took with me as a child. And even as an adult, if I call LaVon right now and whatever it is that I need, she's going to go hard for me. I remember one point in time, I didn't have a vehicle. This woman rented me a vehicle for 3 months. As long as I had the money, she went and put it on her credit card and rented anything I needed. I'm not even gonna break it down to one little instance and one little thing,
But
because
that's the one that came to you.
she's always been there for me and bent over for me backwards. When I just came to the hospital last year, 2 years ago, my child was going through something with her lupus. No, let's keep it real. My child got in the car wreck with her daddy, and when she got into the car wreck with her dad, she hit her head really hard, and that caused her to start having seizures and shit. I had to come down from Atlanta to be with her to make sure everything was going to be okay. And because she was in the ICU and Willow wasn't 18 years old, they didn't want Willow to be in the ICU. So Levine came and picked Willow up for me and my husband and kept Willow those days that we sat in the hospital with Deaja. And I just want to tell Levine, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because you've always been there for me. You ain't never turned your back on me. You don't talk my business to other people for the sake of having conversation and things to gossip about. I love you wholeheartedly and I appreciate you.
With that being said, I want to thank Lawrence Greer. He is not my biological grandfather, but he has always been there. He taught me how to build a house from the ground up, hang sheetrock, do plumbing, go to work, take care of a family, things of that nature, and that has been quintessential in my life. That has made me the man who I am now. No matter what I did, he never turned his back on me. He was there just as long as much as my grandmother, my biological grandmother, was there. He was right there to teach me how to be a man, because a lot of us didn't come up in a household with men, and it shows. It shows near and dear how these male species acting like females. You heard me? And a lot of us don't understand why these cats act the way they act. It's because they didn't have a male figure in their family. Thank you. And we must understand that right now we are, and the Bible says we're in perilous times, and there is family, mothers against daughters, fathers against sons, and there are countries against countries, nations against nations. And we have to bound together and stand on what is right, not what society or multimedia is saying is right, but those old core values. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. 1,000%.
And we as the community and as families, we must bound together and make things right. Angela, I see you on her, and I don't live in Texas no more, and we are from Louisville, and they tell me, man, Louisville don't even look the same anymore. Can you tell me something about that, Miss Angie? Please type and tell me something, because I want to know. Because around the world, gentrification is taking over, and they are moving out all the old settlements in the community and bringing in new people, and you can't even afford to live there anymore.
To this day, I'll be asking my mama if my dad is my real dad, because how he treated me. We have no relationship. He wasn't even at my wedding, and I was okay with that because I was raised with two wonderful father-in-laws.
Man, that's deep. That's deep, because my mother wasn't at my wedding.
And it wasn't because she wasn't invited. Let's just get that straight. It wasn't because she wasn't invited.
It was. I can't even answer why. Just put it that way. Sometimes we don't need to know why, and it was good because it might have ruined your day.
Right. Y'all, when I found out I was pregnant with Willow, I was so excited. And I told him that I was pregnant or whatever. And he was just like, "Are you sure it's mine?" Y'all, that's funny to me because I ain't never been questioned. But yeah, that's funny. But he basically told me, "Am I sure it was his?" And so yeah, we went down through that. And I was just like, yeah, I had to break it down to him. One time, yeah, at any rate. But I also let his mom know that I was pregnant or whatever. And at that moment, she straight up looked me in my face and told me, "Well, I hope that you don't I hope that you don't think that I'm gonna be the grandmother that's gonna be there to get the child every weekend." And at the time, my mama was standing right behind me. So before I can even say anything, my mama was like, "Well, she don't have to worry about that because she got a mama that's going to be there for her anytime she needs somebody to get that baby." Y'all, and I'll be damn, man. My mama she's that G.
Not only that, though,
she's that G.
Not only that, I'm a man, and everybody out there can attest to that. I take care of my kids. I raise my kids. You know what I'm saying? Not just take care of.
He knows it's his now. Shit, ain't no denying that one, baby. Ain't no denying it. He tried it.
But yeah, I raised all my kids, whether we were homeless in a hotel or if they stayed with their mom and I had to sleep in my truck just to make sure they get to school every day. I did that. You know, and I'm not ashamed of anything I went through going through the process of raising my children. You know, the only thing that I would, if I could take it back, the only thing I would take back is staying in a relationship for the sake of the kids, because it ends up breaking
It ends
the
up
kids.
hurting the family. It ends up hurting the entire family, man.
You know, a lot of people are privy to a lot of my dynamics with going on with my children, you know, and it's sad, but I just give it to God, you know, because when your children become adults, there's nothing you can do about the way they act or the way
they conduct themselves in society.
But all you know is that just like my grandparents gave me the God, you know, train a child up in the way he or she should go. And when they get old, they will not depart from it, meaning that will kick in the way you train them, the way you raise them. It will kick in and they will not no longer act like a child, but they will be an adult. You feel me?
Danielle, I'm in a position of you. I've always wanted to give my testimony as well. And like my biggest thing is learning how to write a book, because I want to write a series of books, not just one book. I want to write a series of books just detailing my life and the things that have happened. And I also want to write a couple children's books as well. And I think that that's going to be one big way for me to tell my testimony. But I truly do believe that when it's your time to speak on the things that have happened in your life, that time is going to present itself. And when it does present itself, don't run away from it. When God tells you that it's time, go ahead and, you know, just take heed to it being time. Don't be scared. Don't be ashamed, because anything he brought you to, he brought you through it at the same time. So your story may be able to help somebody. You never know, because us as women and as people of the world, we go through a lot of things, and it's like a whole bunch of shit that we keep bottled in because we think that nobody will understand, or we think that we're going to be judged and ridiculed. But at the end of the day, there's somebody that probably needs to hear your story and some of the things that you've been through and the ways that you've overcame, to be able to help them to come through their hard struggles in life as well. I know that in the time of me and my husband being together, I've had quite a few females reach out to me kind of like on some relationship advice type situations. And I really feel privileged that they would reach out to me in that manner. And just really, I don't know. It's crazy, because I guess I come off as somebody that's easy to talk to, so that when we get on the phone, it's like they're just spilling out to me their life story and just asking me like, what do you think? What do you think? And so my thing is always that instead of talking to me, I appreciate you reaching out to me, but the person that you're in the relationship with, that's really who you need to be talking to, because I don't know that person's expectations on love. I don't know that person's expectation on life. I don't know that person's expectations on relationships. And this is something that you guys should have had a clear understanding on before you chose to cohabitate with one another. Just because things look glitz and glamour from the outside don't mean that it's always like that, y'all. It's so many people that y'all are looking up to their relationships and y'all are listing them as goals. And these people are cheating on each other on the regular. And these motherfuckers cheating on each other on the regular. And I know me personally, I don't have no cheating in my relationship. There's no cheating.
What I can say is that, you know, a lot of us wasn't pruned up to really go and look and see who that other person was. We just kind of gelled together.
Attracted to the physical.
Off of emotions.
You're attracted to the physical. Right. You're attracted to something about them.
Marriage is about
sacrifice.
First of all, commitment.
Commitment.
You got to commit to that person. Next, you have to know that you are willing to fight just as strong as that next person. Sacrifice. The next, you must
be able to communicate. I mean, you got to be able to not only speak, but you have to also listen. You know, you have to be able to pay attention. Sometimes even when that person's not speaking, they're speaking to you loudly through body language and things that they're doing and the way that they're moving. If their movement changes, then that should trigger to you, or that should sense something in you that your partner or something is going on with your partner. But if you selfish and you're not paying attention to those changes, it doesn't matter, you know?
A lot of people don't care. Mm-hmm. They don't care. And when they're done and they're tired, they just give up and discard the relationship.
You're right, Rick. I will write those books. I'm going to write those books. I've already written them in my head. I just need to put them out on paper and get me a publisher and make this shit happen, make this shit pop.
That when you get with the next person, that you're bringing that
baggage, carrying that baggage with
along with you.
There's so many people that move on from relationship to relationship, and they're not taking the time to properly heal. And they're not taking the time to properly heal, so that when you get with somebody else, all you're doing is just taking that same damaged individual into a whole nother relationship, and you're expecting a different result. You're not going to get no different result because you haven't changed. You haven't taken the time to fully heal and figure out what it is that triggers you within a relationship or within a situation to make you act the way that you're acting. You just want companionship.
And you had, like she
go
said,
get you a rose.
You had, and not See, that's the whole thing right
I'm
there.
just,
I know
it's a
it.
joke, baby. Let me joke.
You're joking. Do your thing. But we're talking, right? Okay. With that being said, at any rate, that we must understand that at a certain age, the physicality is over. Period. It's over. You must be able to mentally, socially, and verbally be able to coexist with your partner. You got to be able to understand that your partner without words is not feeling well. You got to understand without your partner saying, hey, this is what I want. And you just take the initiative to do it because you've taken the time to understand and know your partner. I know what Takara wants and needs without her ever opening her mouth. You know what I'm saying? And most guys don't understand that. Most women don't understand that because we do not know how to effectively communicate. Communication is not yelling. Communication is not fighting. Communication is definitely not shutting down.
Man, I used to be a big person shut down. That used to be my defense mechanism. You say something I don't like, I'm going to go silent on your black ass and I don't give a damn. I'm going silent. I'm just going to shut up. I'm not even going to say nothing.
Shut down.
That used to be my defense mechanism. And I've grown a long way from that because I no longer do that anymore.
Because once you tell a person how you feel, once you tell a person what your expectations are, once you tell a person what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you what makes you bubbly, that person is supposed to internalize that, put that over there and understand it. So when something shall arise again, that it comes to your mind and say, oh, I'm not going to do that, or I am going to do that. Because in this relationship, me and Takara has never had professional therapy. But because we communicate, that makes it therapeutic. And she brought that to my mind last night or yesterday.
We were watching a segment on something.
And we was having a conversation. I was like, dang, man, I've never had therapy, babe, but I do this on my own. She was like, hold on, no, that's not what we're going to do. She was like, every time that me and you talk and you're able to express those things to me, that's therapeutic to you. And I was like, damn, she's right.
So just because you're not paying someone to listen to you and to talk to you doesn't mean that you're not having some sort of therapy. So what I had to bring to his attention is that, you have, as a human being, we all have our ups and downs and our highs and lows. And so when something touches us or reaches us, we want to communicate that with somebody that we trust. So when you go into a space of therapy, that's just being able to communicate with somebody that you trust, right? Somebody that's not going to judge you, somebody that's allowing you to get your feelings off. And so when me and him are having conversations, or he I don't know. He's an emotional creature, but he hides those emotions with a hard shell. So once he finally does open up and be able to show me that side and that emotional side, I just listen. I'm just the person. I'm able to listen to him without saying anything, without interrupting him, without being disrespectful, and just letting him know that he's in a space of comfort to where he can open up and tell me the things that he wants to tell me. And once he's done talking and he asks for my opinion and he lets me know that it's okay for me to speak to where I'm not speaking over him, then I'm able to give him some feedback on whatever subject it was. So when we were talking last night, it was just kind of like, he was like, man, I ain't never been to therapy. And I was like, yeah, you have. You go to therapy. Every time you open up to me and you talk to me and, you're peeling back layers of your onion or you're peeling back layers of your eggshell, that's you going through therapy. You may not be paying somebody for these therapy sessions, but we definitely have had therapy. Oh, shit. Anyway, you definitely have had therapy, because the things that you've opened up to me and told me and talked to me about, I'm guaranteeing you've never opened up about these things to other people. So that, in a sense, it's therapy. It's therapeutic.
It is. It's therapeutic. And, we don't live a facade. You know what I'm saying? What you see is what you get. We don't portray to have everything together. We don't portray that we have all of these riches and things. No, we just live life. We're happy with where life is and where life can take us. We lost it all before. Before we moved out here, we had lost everything because it was overwhelming to us.
We went through some things, y'all. Shit, our kids ran away from us, and it was just it felt like it was one thing after another. So after our kids ran away from us and expressed that they didn't want to live in our household anymore.
I am her therapist too, Ricky.
He got his kids to their mama. I got my child to her daddy because these is what our kids expressed that they wanted. They did no longer wanted to live with us, right? So we had to do the things that we needed to do in order to make the household run a little bit more smoothly. Because had we kept the kids there, it was just going to be a whole bunch of head butting and, oh, we told you we didn't want to be here. Y'all, do y'all know that these kids ran away because we put them in AP classes?
AP classes.
Because we put them in AP classes and they weren't failing these AP classes. Everybody was doing really well in these AP classes, but because they were being told by other people on the outside, oh, you don't have to do that. And that's a high expectation. And we don't know why he wants you to do this. We don't know why he wants you to do. First of all, it's not your business. You raise your children how you see fit. You do what you're going to do with your household and it'll be respected. And you give us the right to do the same with our household and allow us to be respected.
And secondly,
he pays me in different ways. You better believe it. Oh, I'm definitely paid.
Structure.
Mm-hmm.
When you come from broken homes, a lot of times structure isn't an option for the ones that don't want structure. Structure, where I was raised, structure no matter what, if I am your biological father or non-biological, if that is your biological mother or not, structure is the key to any household. Without structure and without order, your house is going to stay in disarray. So if you don't want structure, what did your parents tell you? There's that door. Don't let it hit you where the good Lord split you. And if you decide to come back, make sure that you have your affairs in order and that you come back with respect. As y'all see, it's just only me, Takara, and Willow. Our children, everybody has come back a couple of times, several times. But structure is the key. You may love your kid to the heavens, but do you love yourself more? Because always remember that you were a child at one time, and you did things that you didn't want. You didn't want to have structure. You didn't want to have.
You didn't want to be told what to do.
And that comes with life. But you have to let that child go.
And go through what they're going to go through and bump their head a couple times before they realize what life really is. Because you as a parent, you're not telling your children nothing to hurt you.
There you go.
To hurt them. Most of the time, the situations that you see them heading into, you've been in that situation before in your life and you don't want your child to go down that same road. So you try to talk to your kids and give them some sort of guidance to keep them from going down that road. And with you talking to them, it always comes back to, oh, you think you know everything. No, youngin'. I've just been through some things. I don't think I know everything. I've just lived enough life to have gone through enough situations to understand you're headed towards damnation. You're taking yourself through a whole bunch of BS that you don't have to go through.
Thanks,
and instead of just wanting to listen and try to get some type of, like he said, structure and guidance, you want to go bump your head. Well, okay. Well, after your head is bumped, don't come back to us and, oh, it's our fault because we didn't this and our fault. No, you didn't want to listen. You was grown, right? So go be grown and go live your life.
And
I'll be here for you.
Not to mention that when you have a broken home and you're trying to co-parent and the other parent is always in your business, worrying about what you do and not worrying about the
co-parenting of the child.
Then you get these things because you have to deprogram.
Don't y'all know a lot of these kids could literally have the best of both worlds if these parents that split up would actually focus on nothing but giving the child what they needed instead of focusing on what your ex is doing. These kids could have the best of both worlds because a lot of us, we have broken homes, meaning we have a child over here with this woman or that man, and this person ain't their father, but we're doing our best to raise them and put them in a healthy environment. The thing with single mothers is that me personally, when I was a single mother, I didn't bring nobody to my house and I didn't have nobody around my child. The only time I introduced this man to my child is when I knew we were going to go on and be in a relationship. Other than that, it wasn't no end. Every person that met my cat didn't meet my child. And a lot of you young girls, what y'all are doing right now is everybody that y'all lay down and have sex with, everybody to take you out to eat, everybody that pays a bill, you also allowing them to be around your child. And that's one of the most unhealthy things that you can do because now you're showing that child instability.
Okay. And it's okay to just
sleep around and be with whomever, whenever. That's not, y'all. That's not, that shit is unhealthy.
And then I've seen where some of these women are allowing their kids to call just anybody
daddy. Because a nigga paying a bill, that's your daddy. No, that's not true. Whoever your DNA is, that's gonna forever be your daddy. I understand you want to call somebody your stepfather out of respect, cool. But I ain't never forced my child to. I've never asked her to call no other person other than the person who split DNA with me her daddy. Y'all gotta stop that shit. That shit ain't cute. And just because you mad at your ex or mad at the person you used to be with, now you trying to throw this daddy word around and make that nigga mad. Stop that shit. That shit is unhealthy.
I'm gonna go back to when
it's unhealthy.
I'm gonna go back to a comment earlier where somebody said that they just found out that they have a younger sibling. Where should I start? A lot of these women, and I'm not just being a feminist or whatever y'all call this these days. Some of these women have kids by men and don't give these kids the man's last name.
Purposely.
Or they don't know and they just give them any name. So therefore, you have to look at certain situations and analyze it and go from it with there. My oldest child doesn't have my last name. 30 years now going into this situation, I've always tried to get my child to get the mother and the daughter to go up to the courthouse and change the name or also get a DNA. No one wants to get a DNA. No one wants to change the name. What can we do in these situations to make it better for the whole family? Because that brings strife, that brings separation, that brings underlying
negativity for that child because they have a different last name than everybody else in the household.
And I'm saying this, and I'm not the only person that's going through this. I'm the only person that's just going to stand up and say these things. We must know who our children are, and children must know who their father is.
And so with that being said, it's kind of like you're passing on a generational thing. Instead of breaking that generational curse of giving your child just anybody's last name, that shit's being passed down now.
And just to be open with it, my ex-wife, her name is different than her father.